We go from a movie where we were falling asleep to a movie where I could not take my eyes off the screen. We saw Star Trek Into Darkness. I liked it. What about you, Fat Kid?
It was amazing. I've never been a Star Trek fan. I mean, I've watched some of the TV episodes of the different series they had, and I couldn't understand, like, in the series, like, you have the first two series where they're in the ship and they're flying off and stuff, and then, like, it changes and they're, like, trying to find, like, where should Star Trek go next and stuff like that. I know I just said Star Wars when I was talking about Star Trek. Sorry.
Same director, don't worry.
But no, I mean, it's like I could never get into the series. I hated the series. I don't know if it was just Kirk's voice and where he's always pausing, because I'm not a huge fan of his dialogue, and he just drives me crazy. That's why I don't like the price line commercials. But this new reboots of Star Trek, I have, like, full on board with Star Trek, and I saw the first one. I'm like, oh my god, this is great. I hope they continue with it, because it actually could get into Star Trek, and they did not disappoint with the second one. In my opinion, this one is better than the first one.
You're in good company as far as someone who wasn't really huge into the original series. Not only myself, but do you know who else wasn't a fan of the original Star Trek? J.J. Abrams. He's come out and admit that, and look what he's done with the movie. I saw the original one, expecting to see a car wreck, but I saw genius. I loved how he wrote the entire crew, and that's very much the point here as it continues. I love the chemistry, not just between Spock and Kirk, but the ship as a whole. It really drives home that, this is a team, this is a crew. And,
or as they say in the movie, they actually refer to it as family.
Indeed, and you really capture that sense. An amazing, amazing film, and before I go too far into it, I just want to say, if you recall back on our Pain and Gain review, what a fun film that was. One of my big problems was the advertising made me think that I was going to see one thing, but I ended up not getting that, and I ended up leaving very upset. I actually have to give kudos here on the advertising, because, don't worry, we're not going to go into spoiler territory here, but the commercials do not prepare you for what you see in this movie. It was literally like, huh, really? What? No. It was like twist after twist after twist, and the movie's a real roller coaster ride the entire time out.
But the best thing about these movies, and I think the chemistry and the characters are actually more perfected in this one. I think the actors are actually getting used to each other and stuff like that. You can actually see the development of the chemistry between the actors now that they're working together again as a group. Just the script writing and the dialogue that they share, and the emotion that's transported. I mean, there's comedy in it. There's action. There's drama. There's so much stuff going on in this. Like anybody who likes any type of movie, a part of this movie will have something in there for you, and it's done so well. You get attached to the characters, and you lock onto those characters, and you believe that the character really, like, is feeling these emotions and stuff like that. The actors did an amazing job portraying all the emotions and everything like that. And I think sticking to the basis of the original characters and how they go through things, and it's just amazing how well it's written and how well it's done.
I mean, the interactions between all the characters are done so well. I almost wanted to say it felt like a Joss Whedon movie, just in how the relationships are built. But testament to JJ, he really nails it here. Just to go over the synopsis on the story, essentially Kirk is after a criminal by the name of John Harrison, who commits a very heavy crime against Starfleet. And I wish I could tell you more, but one of these days we do need to do a spoiler cast. I really do think so. But anyway, going up and down, as Fat Kid just mentioned, everyone continues to nail their role. Carl Urban as McCoy is amazing. Chris Pine is great as Captain Kirk. Zachary Quinto, once again, is incredible as Mr. Spock. I really enjoyed it.
And it's funny because Star Trek, you would think that Captain Kirk was like the pinnacle character, but if you actually look at it, like the pinnacle character of the fans is Spock. A lot of people, when you heard people like, oh, who's gonna be playing this character? Who's gonna be playing that character? In movies like, at the Wild Wild West, when you hear Will Smith's gonna be playing the lead character, you're like, wait a minute, what? And when they started talking about redoing Star Trek, and it wasn't who's playing Captain Kirk, who's playing Captain Kirk. The most number one thing was who's playing Spock. And it's like, I don't know, and that's and whenever there's something that's going on in a movie series, and a character has been iconically played by one person, like no matter what movie it is, you never like, well, who's gonna play that character now? Who can play that character now? I mean, like a lot of people right now are wondering, all right, who's gonna be playing Tony Stark if they don't get Downey Jr. again because of his contract, and you start going, it's not gonna be as good as the other person. There's no way he can live up to that person's name, and you know what? The whole cast, and if you look at it, Lieutenant Uhura's character has such an immense part in this movie, compared to like I said, I haven't really watched the TV series, but every time I watch it, she's just been like a side character who is just there partially. You're right, she doesn't have a huge part, and I think that what they do in this movie that is very hard to do in a lot of movies, and they hardly ever pull it off. But this movie does it so well, and the series has been doing it so great. Is you have a lot of characters, and each character has their own unique story, abilities, and jobs, and a lot of movies can't collate all those things in one movie. Either you get like one person that's in there for like a few seconds, another person's that it's not balanced, and this Star Trek series so far has done an amazing job of breaching that gap tremendously. Every character that you know and love have a part. You don't feel like you're cheated. You don't feel like the character's just thrown in there, rushed, or anything like that. And it's so well done that you wonder how much time they took to figure out making sure every character had their time, had their part, and they're always used in this. And you see such an immense story goes on, and it's awesome because they utilize every person to their abilities.
Yeah, and I really appreciated that. If you're a fan of Spock, if you're a fan of McCoy, if you're a fan of any of the characters, every single one of them has a moment, and in which, if it wasn't for them, the story would be over. If you took away any of those moments by each of those characters, they would not have been able to succeed. They really, as I said, drive home the fact that this is a team, this is a family, and if they didn't stand together, they wouldn't have been able to accomplish this incredible goal. As the story weaves and you find out, there was a few times I was like, how the heck are they getting out of this?
Yep.
Speaking of going down the cast, Benedict Cumberbatch, who I know, and some of you know better as Sherlock, voice of Smaug the Dragon on The Hobbit, plays, okay, correct me, I'm going to get this wrong, John Harrison?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The villain of this movie, he nails it. He is incredible. He was one of my favorite things in there.
And in the character he plays, I mean, people don't attack Starfleet Command, and when you have someone who does, he has the role, and you see the strength of the character through him. You see the resolve. You see everything. He portrays everything with emotion, the dialogue again. Like I said, the casting of these series has not been, without a doubt, substantial. You can't have a good movie without good actors. You can't have a good movie without script. You can have the best actors in the world and have a crappy movie because the scripting is just ridiculous.
And JJ, did a fantastic job finding all these people. We've been going on about the cast and the dialogue, but seriously, it can't be commended enough. It's such a phenomenal film, and the story, it'll keep you on the edge of your seat the entire time. Let's talk a little bit about the special effects. What did you think about it?
Just again, special effects in these movies, a lot of the CG in a lot of movies is just cartoonish. You spot it, it comes out at you, it jumps out at you, it doesn't feel natural. This movie and like again the series have made sure that everything seems natural. It looks, you can see the time and effort they all took in doing it. I mean, nothing seems like just thrown in there. Nothing seems overly done. Everything is done subtle. Everything is done exactly what they need to do. They never went like out and about to try to like make this thing into this huge thing when they didn't need to. Everything is done exactly how it should, and the special effects like are seamless in this movie.
There are so many very imaginative scenes that I thought in the entire movie had a lot of fantastic CG scenes, which like you said, really fit, and it doesn't interrupt or take you out of the feeling of where you're at. And like I said, I wish I could go more into it. But yeah, it nails it. It looks beautiful on a big screen. Let's see, what else could we talk about? By the way, while we aren't diehard Star Trek fans, if you are, you're going to notice an incredible amount of nods to both the original series, to the movies. It's you will, if you're a fan, you will be serviced. It's even we notice them. It's like, oh, there's that. Quite copious amounts of use of Chekhov's gun too, which I'll let you guys figure out where that is. But I really wish I had it on Blu-ray right now so I could watch this film.
You know, and it's such a great film. And the thing about this is, you know, the whole joke with the red shirts and everything like that. So when you see the red shirts, you automatically assume, and I think, you know, the first movie they definitely played that up. Like when they first landed on the satellite thing there, whatever that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, two guys in the red armor suits. You knew those guys were dead. Yep, gone. Like, oh, gee, there you go. There's like 50 billion people wearing red suits in this movie. Like every time you turn around, there's like a huge group of people wearing red shirts, and you're like, okay, which one of these guys gonna die? How soon are they gonna die? And you know, you start expecting people with red shirts to die, and I think they have them, but you don't really have a lot of like, oh, yep, this person's gonna die, and it happens. I mean,
can I spoil just one? It's not a huge spoiler, but there is a scene where Kirk tells Chekhov to put on a red shirt, and he gets this look of dread on his face.
Yeah. Well, you know, and yeah, because there's only one person that wears a red shirt constantly, and there's never a person that you know is gonna ever get killed. Do you know who that person is?
Scotty.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Scotty always wears a red shirt, even in the thing, and he's the only like invincible red shirt, if you will, and it's funny because everybody else is wearing like all the other colors, but Scotty's the only like crew member. It seems like he wasn't even supposed to be like this highly like highly made character. Like he was just thrown in there because he's the only one that wears the red shirt, and it's like, all the red shirts die, but who on the main crew actually wears a red shirt? Nobody, right? Wait a minute. There is one. Granted, he never really leaves the ship, so like the threat of death is like hard for him. But you know, it's funny when you see it because like you hear the red shirts and everything like that, and there's actually one main crew member that always wears a red shirt.
Now let me ask you: can you think of anything negative?
Negative about this movie?
Yeah.
The ending. You could definitely figure out what's gonna happen.
Chekhov's gun,
yeah. But no, I mean, it folds out like a major part of the movie folds out, and you could figure it out. We figured it out, and then as like it got closer and closer to the thing, you could hear other people in the theater figuring it out too, and but it's not really something super bad, and they actually do a great job leading up to it. But other than that, I really can't think of anything I'm really upset with in the movie besides that one thing where you know what's gonna happen.
I mean, yeah, there's not much. The ending is the closest thing I could think of as far as a complaint about it. It's kind of by the numbers, but I wouldn't say it was a bad ending at the same time.
Right.
I enjoyed it. Aside from that, it's a shame this is a movie series and not a TV series, because I seriously love seeing these guys interact with each other.
I think as a TV series, it would run out
Really?
of this nostalgia that the movies bring. I think because you got to think about it. I mean, when you have the time and effort to put it into the movie, you have the time to write the script and stuff, and you can add it so well. But where you have a TV series, you have to keep pumping out over and over and over and over again, and that's why things like Bones. When you hear Bones, nobody thinks he's like a main character or he's highly like in thing or anything. All you hear is, "Oh, damn it, Jim! I'm a doctor, not this." That's what you think of when you hear Bones.
Which they could have easily beaten that phrase to death, but they kept it to the one.
Right, but in the TV series, that's all you know Bones as if you don't aren't like a follower of it. When I hear Bones, I'm like, I don't know, he's like the doctor guy that's always like, I'm a doctor, not this, and that's all I know of him. Then you have Scotty. I give her knowledge, he got captain. I can't give her no more. What else does he do? I don't know. He sits on the ship, and because they focus too much on certain characters, and I think you lose it because you can't sit there and go, okay, well, to this week this character, this week that character, this week this character, and that's why you don't see a lot of movies with ship captains going out and doing stuff, because it's your captain's always gonna be the main character, so you don't want to focus on him, and I think without having the time to figure out how to implement everybody all the time, I think you'd see such a separation compared to where the movies take you. And I think that's one thing that this excels so greatly at, because where it's a movie, they have the time, they have the resources to actually implement the characters, so that way you get a feel that all the characters are important and not just a few.
Yeah. As far as the way I always understood the Spock, McCoy, and Kirk relationship, it was Spock was the uber intelligent, uber logical one. McCoy was just pure, unadulterated emotion, usually anger, usually alcohol too, and Kirk is the line in between them. So it was kind of a balance between all three. But I think it would still work. In fact, there was actually talks of doing something like that, but studios put the kibosh on that. But in any event, amazing film. Obviously, what would you give it?
I definitely go see it again. My girlfriend wants to see it, so I'll probably go see it again. And I have no problem going to see that movie again because it was so great. And I think it's one of those movies that we'll go see it again and you'll see more than you saw the first time.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure there were more nods to the original series that we probably missed. And I fully concur. Amazing film. You go buy it. See it in theaters.
You really can't go buy it.
Pre-order it. After you watch it in theaters, pre-order it on Amazon. Buy the toy. Buy Star Trek the Thermos.
The toy. The toy. There's only one out there.
I want to see a 3. That's another thing I'll actually have to give kudos to. As far as a sequel, they leave a lot of directions for it to go. You'll see them on, once again, I can't mention it because it's a spoiler, but go see it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Alright, so that was Star Trek Into Darkness. Thumbs up. Way up. Out of frame. Okay. Now, next week we have another interesting film.
Yes.
Fast and the Furious 6. What are your expectations?
Here's a funny thing. I realized with that movie, it doesn't feel like, when you watch the first movie, it didn't feel like a trilogy because of all the character changes and the people who came and gone. There was no sustained cast at the beginning, and I think the last 3 have actually focused and got the cast where it's always the same people, and I think that actually helps the series out. But it never felt like a trilogy if you get rid of the first. If you kept the first one, get rid of the second 2, and then, granted you wouldn't have the whole how Tyrese got in there, but, I mean, the flow of it, you have some movies in there that don't belong, and it's a great series. Granted, about 35,000% of the people in the world, out of 100%, would agree that Tokyo Drift does not belong in the series. But if you didn't have Tokyo Drift, you wouldn't have Han, and Han's played like a major character in the movie since Tokyo Drift. I mean, he actually became a great character to be introduced in a movie that takes place after all of this, and so out of like Burning Ash, he's like the phoenix that rises out of the Tokyo Drift series.
Yeah, I recently got into the whole series. I'm actually, for homework, I'm going to be watching everything else, all the other movies to catch up. But they're a fun little adrenaline flick. I remember Fast Five. What I saw of it, very, very high octane, lots of action, and I expect nothing less from Fast Six.
Yep.
All right, folks, what do you think? Do you think we're spot on with Star Trek? Do you think Fast 6 will be a bummer of a movie? Well, please let us know in the comments below. If you like the review, please click on the like option. Also, subscribe to this channel if you want to hear more reviews from us and more videos from the Geek Link. Till next time, I'm Malc. This is the Fat Kid. We'll see you next time.